We are live.
Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone, members of the public, board members, staff. Thank you so much for joining us. This begins the pre-meeting for the Rochester Preservation Board hearing on August 5th, 2020. During the pre-meeting, staff and board members review cases. There is no participation by the applicants or the public. Following the conclusion of the pre-meeting, a public hearing will be held at 6 p.m. Here, all cases will be heard. Applicants will present and public comments submitted after staff reports were compiled will be read into the record. After the conclusion of the public hearing for each case, deliberations will follow. The board will take action on these cases that were heard at the public hearing. There is no participation by applicants or the public. I ask that all staff and board members mute their microphone at this time and keep themselves muted unless they're going to speak. So case one, if we want to bring that one up, we'll just go through these quick, and then if anyone has questions or anything after that, we can discuss. 281 Park Avenue. If Chris, I don't know if you want to call names to see for site visitation.
Sure, absolutely. Deborah Beardsley, did you visit both sites?
Yes, I did.
Thank you, Deborah. Ed Kane, did you visit both sites?
I visited both sites.
Thank you. I visited both sites. Jim DeVinny, did you visit both sites?
I did.
Thank you. Jason Dobbs?
Yes.
Visited both sites. Thank you. Gerald Gam, did you visit both sites?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. And Dave Matthews, did you visit both sites?
Yes, I did.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, so everyone visited all sites. So my first question, I guess, to everyone is, did you receive the public comments via email
Yes.
for
Thank
both cases? Okay.
Yes.
And were there any questions about either of the cases?
No.
No, sir.
Okay.
My only question with the sign, I was just having trouble visualizing where the sign goes. Is it hanging off the building or is it plastered to the building?
It's a blade sign, so I think it's like the one that's about 2 doors down, where it just sort of hangs out from the porch. It was a little confusing because she said it was on the left side, and then she said the right looking at it, or the other way around. I'm not quite sure, but there was a little kind of misdirection there.
Page 7 at the top has at least some information. Sign will be mounted perpendicular to the building, attached to the column on the right side of the front stairs. On page 7, Chris. Right there. At the top.
Do full screen mode. There we go.
Does that help, Jim?
Yeah, no, that's what I referred to, because somewhere else then she kind of makes a reference to the photo and says something contrary to it, it seemed like.
Yeah, it was just, I'm assuming it hangs out 90 degrees perpendicular to the building.
Yeah.
It was just hard for me because she said there was a pre-existing
Yeah,
support, and I couldn't
couldn't
find it.
You see the back.
So I just wasn't sure where the sign goes. I have a second question about the sign, but that's more for the hearing. I'm just going to make the case that there's way too much writing on the sign and too much information. But that's more for me to raise at the hearing.
Yeah, you're right.
So this, if it's on the right column, if you're on the street, that's where her building numbers are. So if it's on the left side, it wouldn't have any building numbers. So I guess we just want clarification on that.
Okay. That was the only question I had about either case. They were otherwise pretty straightforward.
In one of the public letters we got, I think it might have been from John Lembach, someone was asking about whether the window signage would remain on the building. Yeah. Do we have any idea about that, Chris?
In terms of the legality of it?
The legality,
Or-
yep, and whether we should make sure that things coordinate, like fonts and such. You know, it's a, if both signs are there, it kind of starts to want to be a sign system, and it's the fonts and everything are different. So I just wondered, so legality first, of course, and then design wise, they don't coordinate well.
So you can have window signage up to 20%, and I believe this was approved by the board previously at this location, from what I saw in our system.
Okay.
That seems to be what's bothering John Limbach, though, because he thinks it should be one or the other. It shouldn't be both.
So the zoning code, if you're looking at the zoning code, I mean, that's a determination for the board to make in terms of appropriateness, but in terms of the zoning code, you're allowed to put 20% window signage. 20% of a window can be covered with decal signage. And that signage is not included into the numerical value of calculating building signage. So window signage is allowed without permits, although in the preservation district, it requires review by the preservation board. Whereas building signs, which are hung from the building or mounted to the building, do require a permit and have a numerical value. So there are two separate requirements there in our code, two different standards that need to be met in the zoning code. So this would be fine under the requirements of the zoning code in terms of the numerical value of the 9 square feet and the 20% coverage of the window. But it's up to you as the preservation board to decide if that's appropriate for the building.
And the addition of the little open sign, does that bear on this at all? Does that start to get into clutter?
Again, in terms of the zoning code, the two signs together are not an issue. They meet the zoning code requirements.
Jim is saying the open sign.
I'm sorry?
See the little neon that looks like.
Oh, the open sign. Yeah, those are allowed in the window. Oh, is this what we're discussing? This open sign, not this sign here?
Right.
Yeah, that was what I questioned because it starts into kind of a clutter.
I guess I didn't even think about that. In terms of legality of it, it's something I would have to look into because it's unclear to me right now if this was included in the window signage that was previously proposed and approved here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we'll look
window
that
signs-
up. It looks like we're going to have a break, before the regular session begins, and Chris and I will look into that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. I would say having a flush mounted window sign for the business name and having it coexist with a perpendicular blade sign is okay because they're different viewing experiences, as long as that's legal, and Chris says it is. Wondering if anyone had any questions or comments about the size of the blade sign? Any concerns or?
One loader keeps referring to a 9-foot sign, and I didn't know if she understood it was square feet rather than linear feet.
Right.
Because it didn't seem to me like it was out of size compared to that one 2 doors down. I forget what the name of that is.
This is the one you're referring to, Jim, I think.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Is that one 4 feet across? I can't say that I noticed.
No, I don't think it's 4 feet.
Because the sign that Aliza is proposing is 4 feet across. I think it could be a little smaller.
Yeah, I would go along with that.
What do you think, board members? You guys think the size is okay, or would you rather see it smaller?
Would it be okay, Deborah, for me to say, I sort of want to ask questions at the hearing and see what they say about the size and sort of defer a decision till then?
Sure. Yeah, if that streamlines anything.
I'm just thinking, I'm not sure if I mind the size, but we really, it feels to me like we don't need to make a decision right now.
It does kind of relate to your concern about the amount of information on the sign though, Gerald. And so that might be one of the things
Yeah.
to argue for a smaller sign to get rid of some of that information.
Yeah, and I wasn't looking for a decision. I was just wondering if anyone else had concerns about the size or. That's fine, we can wait.
Okay.
Okay.
So does anyone have any other additional questions, or I think we're all set? Okay.
On,
Tom Worth, did you have anything to add? Anything you wanted to note before we end the pre-meeting?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Okay.
I just wanted to point out that on the second case where they had two bushes that were located in the front of the on the Park Avenue side on page 9. And the one on the right there is located in what's an existing sidewalk.
Yeah.
So I just, it's right there. So if they wanted to move it or not put those in or whatever, I just wanted to bring that attention. It can't go there unless they remove the sidewalk.
Yeah. I didn't catch that. I thought they were both going on that one side where there is dirt right up to the house. That's the Raleigh side there.
Okay, so we will reconvene at 6 p.m. So you can mute yourself, turn off your video. We're going to disconnect from the YouTube stream and then reconnect at 6 o'clock.